Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Work at Home Rockstar Podcast. Very excited for today's episode. We are talking to the CEO. She's a business coach and outsourcing specialist for six-figure business coaching. And what she does is she helps service-based entrepreneurs to simplify and scale their business by combining coaching, financial clarity, and strategic outsourcing. Super excited to be talking to Kirsten Graham. Hey, Kirsten, you ready to rock?
Absolutely, Tim. Thank you so much for having me today.
That's great. So we always start off with a good note. So tell me a story of success that we can be inspired by.
Absolutely. So my background is real estate. I sold real estate. I moved to the mortgage side. I went on to own a mortgage company and a title company. And while I did a lot of loans for self-employed people, I would see their business tax returns and their personal tax returns. And then they would always take me to lunch to pick my brain. So I mentored business owners for about a decade. And then I decided to start taking paid coaching clients. And the reason why I wanted to share that story with your audience today is because sometimes you're doing something at your job that could end up turning into a business. So always keep your eyes open for that opportunity, because I thought I would live and die in the real estate industry. I had zero thought, like the thought never crossed my mind to become a business coach. And because I just mentored people and helped them whenever I could, it eventually turned into a paid business. And that was really exciting because we survived 2008, which wasn't easy. We got beat up quite badly. But, my mom was terminally ill in 2013. And at that point, I'd taken on enough coaching clients that I was able to say, I'm finished with the mortgage industry. And I want to spend the next 6 months or 8 months or however long she has with her. And because I'd already taken on those coaching clients, I was able to do that. But it led me down a totally different path. And I'm very excited that I, took the step to move forward, even though I had a business, actually kind of taking on a second business, which was the coaching, because it just made sense. So for all of you out there that maybe you're still working a job and you want to work for yourself, you have skills that you've developed in your career, and you probably have people asking you for help. There's a way to turn that into a business.
Yeah, I'm really glad you mentioned that, because that is something that we all have something that someone picks our brains about, right? And
Exactly.
and the funny thing about it is that you were doing it for free because you like doing it, you like helping people, and that's you know what, we talk about that quite a bit on the podcast, especially when it comes to like music and stuff, because I think people have a hard time charging money for the thing that they like to do for free.
Yes,
Do you find that? Is that a weird thing that we
absolutely.
have?
No, because it comes so naturally to you that you forget that it's a challenge for someone else.
Hmm.
So, for example, a lot of business owners, they don't enjoy bookkeeping, but it's hard for us to imagine that there are people who actually that's their jam. They love doing that, right? Or if we hate things like technology and video editing and stuff like that, it's hard to imagine because it's not our unique ability. It doesn't come easy to us. Sometimes it's hard to imagine that other people actually love doing that. And
Hmm.
it's for us, when something comes easy for us, we sometimes think, well, why would anybody pay me for this? It's so easy. Can't everybody do this? And that's
Yeah.
not the case.
Yeah, exactly. And I think there are certain things that everybody knows is not easy for everybody else, like the math stuff. You could be like, yeah, okay, I get it. Not everybody likes that. But there might be something in your business that you are just think is very easy, like you just said, but isn't obvious that it's not easy for everybody, right? And that's the gold right there, because that's the thing that people are happy to pay for because they just don't want to do it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So if you're thinking about, just start tracking when people ask you questions, what are they asking you about? What do people come to you for? Because you're kind of an expert in it. Not that you call yourself that,
Yeah.
it's just friends or family or people, clients, or they come to you and ask you certain things. And if you find out that that is a unique ability, then do some research and figure out, could you turn that into a business? And would you enjoy doing that as a business? Or maybe you already have a business, but you hadn't thought about bringing that element into it.
Yeah. Well, we can get back into that a little bit later. But before we do, let's talk a little bit about the bad note. So, what is something, hey, not everything goes as planned, right? There are some certain things that don't go as planned. And that seems to be the thing that keeps people out of it, out of the game. They're thinking, it's not going to work out the way I want it to. What if I fail? I just like to talk about it because we all get those things and we're still here, right? So
Yes.
it can still work out for you even though you make mistakes. So I'm wondering, can you share with me one of those mistakes?
Sure. Sure. So one of my clients from my mortgage company was Jeannie Wilson, who's now my business partner.
Mhm.
And she was one of those people that I mentored. And she was at the time building an agency. So this is back, I'm going to age us really quickly. This is back when Facebook first had fan pages.
Oh,
And, you know, at this point, local businesses had websites resistantly, but they knew nothing about LinkedIn, or they thought it was a resume site or email marketing or blogging. Those things were very prevalent online, but not within local businesses. And so she was starting a digital marketing agency. So you're kind of swimming upstream because people don't really know what you're doing.
mhm.
So she ended up hosting some classes that taught people about, you know, how to use LinkedIn for business and networking. You know, why should you blog? Why should you add a blog to your website at least once a month, ideally every week? Email marketing. What is email marketing and how do you use it? So she hosted some classes, filled the classes because people were interested. But what happened next was she ended up getting really busy really fast. And so I said to her, I've read about outsourcing overseas. Would you like to try this? And I still have my mortgage company and I've got a huge team all in the States. But we decided to start outsourcing for her digital marketing agency. And she said, I'll do it if you'll help me. So this is before Zoom. It's before WhatsApp. I mean,
Mhm.
this was back very old school. And so we kind of found everything we could research to find on outsourcing. And we went down that road of helping her hire website developers, people who could create profiles on LinkedIn and Facebook fan pages, because business owners didn't even want to create their own profiles back then,
Wow.
or could blog or set up the blogs once she had written them and things like that. I like to say we're stubborn and stupid, probably in a lot of ways, because it went wrong. It went wrong. I mean, it went wrong every way it could go wrong. So we had, you know, you have people that don't show up and do a good job with the project, or you learn that you've hired the wrong person because they weren't honest about the skills that they had,
Mhm.
you know, or one person's been working for you a while and asked, hey, I've had a family emergency. Could you pay me early? And that happened. And then he vanished, right? So it was definitely a learning curve. And we kind of joked looking back that it's surprising that we stuck with it. But it was one of those things where no one else that we knew was doing it. So we didn't really have anyone to go to ask questions.
Yeah.
So it really was white knuckling it and figuring it out. But Jeannie went on to build a successful digital marketing agency with that process. And then we went on to partner to help other people learn how to outsource, because we just realized it can change a person's business when you get the support in your business you need. But if you think you're going to start a business and everything's going to be easy, it's not, right?
Mhm.
But sometimes you just have to realize that even though you don't have a skill right now, you can develop that skill. You know, as far as interviewing goes, like myself and our team, we have it dialed in. We very seldom have a bad hire anymore. And I will have to say, until the pandemic. And what happened was I guess there were people teaching people in the Philippines or in India how to become virtual assistants, like how to interview to be a
Yes.
virtual assistant, not know how to do the skills, but how to interview for the job. And so
Uh,
we got caught with two bad hires. And I was like, how the heck did this happen? Like, we haven't had a bad hire in years. And so I was finally able to talk with one of them. And like you said, these were the skills you had, you know, so I was able to get out of that person that they had gone through a program that told them how to interview.
wow.
Right. Yeah. And so that was, again, it's always a learning curve. I don't think that's the other thing that's exciting about owning your own business is every day things are evolving and changing and you're always learning, and just have faith that you have the ability to learn new things and to do hard things. And at the end, it always pays off.
Yeah. It does pay off if you stick with it, right? And sometimes if you have some help, right?
Absolutely.
But I mean, that's the thing is that like you say that you're going to learn. I mean, all these things are going to happen, and then you're gonna move forward. And I mean, what's the other alternative? You're sitting in a company maybe that you're not super excited about. I know the thing that I dreaded the most about going to a job was just not having that control and that excitement. And
Right.
I know for me, like those problems and those things that don't go well, yes, they suck at the time, but they're exciting when you figure them out, right?
Absolutely. And I love the joke that an entrepreneur is the only person that will quit a 40-hour a week job to work 80 hours a week for themselves.
Yes.
Because you just don't, when you start your business, you don't think about that window of time that you spend learning new things,
Hmm.
especially like right now we've got AI on the scene, and that's the past 5 or 6 years with that has been amazing, but you're still in a constant learning mode.
Yeah.
So it is a matter of understanding that if you love to learn and you're excited about learning, then working for yourself is definitely the way to go.
Yeah, I think when it comes down to it, like if you're the type of person that is very prideful about the work that you're putting out there, like you want it to be really good and you want to do a great job, that to me, and it's just maybe my experience in a corporate setting, you're getting paid the same as the guy sitting right next to you that is doing hardly anything.
Right.
So, I mean, if you're the type of person that just like, I just need to get this done right, you're not going to succeed in a corporate environment. It's going to be very, very difficult. But now all of a sudden, if you're working for yourself, well, now the better you get at what you do, the more you can deliver within the same amount of time, the more money you make. Now you can take on
Absolutely.
another client, right? So it's just
Absolutely.
a personality thing, I think. And I think a lot of people don't they want to clock in, clock out, and they just
Mhm.
want to, be there and do that thing and not have a bunch of stress. Well, that's
Right.
probably not going to work out so well if you're self-employed, right?
No. Yeah. I like you believe that owning your own business is amazing. But I do accept that there are some people who enjoy being in corporate America. They enjoy that climbing that corporate ladder because there are on the flip side of this with working from home. It can be isolating and you can feel
Hmm.
lonely at times. And sometimes it can be challenging to figure out things on your own, which is why I think it's so important to build community of
Yeah.
other entrepreneurs that you have somebody to bounce things off of. But yeah, if you're that type of person who loves challenges, wants to make more money for what you're doing, and just, you want to help other people. I think that's the other thing. People who are self-employed, they have a huge desire to help people. And I think sometimes in a corporation, you don't always get to see the ultimate outcome of what you do and how it affects someone. But when you're self-employed, you do.
Yeah, I could tell you a bunch of stories about that, but we don't have time. The other thing about it too is that, I mean, hey, we could talk about the band. We could take that in so many different directions. One of those directions, just to start off here, would be that um, if you're the person that is the entrepreneur, you're the person that likes to fix all these problems and all that stuff. It's also super helpful to have somebody on your team that is not that person that just wants to be have really clear direction and need to know what they're doing that day. That can be the person in your band. They don't have to be working for a multinational company. They can be working for a small business like you and me, and getting what they want, in that kind of atmosphere, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think the people who are willing to work for smaller companies in the States, I have lots of great people that work for my mortgage company and my title company. Those people contribute so much to the success of the business. They contribute so much to the community. Yeah. So a lot of people would rather be part of a smaller business and see it grow and be a part of that growth and have, again, see the tangible results of what they're doing rather than sometimes being in a very large corporation.
That's true too. Yeah, you're more likely to see, the full scale of what you're doing in a small company than you are in a big company. I used to work in a very big company, and like you said, I did not. I was on this little piece of this puzzle, and I never saw what it was doing, right?
I never saw the
And
full picture.
yeah, and that can be, I don't know. I guess like we're saying, I mean, everybody's different, but for me, it was demoralizing in a way. It was just like I like to see what my work is doing. Like I like to see somebody that says, "Great job," and this really helped me. Like that, it
Absolutely.
it it works for me, right?
Yes. Yes.
So now let's talk a little bit about, okay, so when you mentioned earlier, I mean, you were doing some business coaching on the side. So yeah, for me, my first business was basically tech support, fixing computers. Because as I was working for my programming company, I loved fixing problems and troubleshooting things. Hey, my computer's acting weird. And I would love doing that. And so that ended up being my first job. Or sorry, first business. Figuring out how to price it though, and figuring out how to that was really difficult. Do
Yeah.
you have
Price.
any tips on how to make sure that you're making enough money? Like, should you just charge your hourly rate that you work at your company? Like, how does all that work?
Sure. Yeah. So because we specialize in virtual assistants, and one of the types of virtual assistants we specialize in are bookkeeping VAs,
Okay.
because it's a lot more affordable than hiring someone locally. And I hire bookkeepers for large CPA firms and larger bookkeeping companies. So they're already outsourcing it. So we're kind of brought that concept to the small business owner who needs the most support, but doesn't necessarily think they can afford it. So I would say what I find with people who finally get their bookkeeping in order, they start to realize their pricing doesn't work. So you need to have a structure or a strategy around pricing, but a lot of times, you want to help someone, so you want to make sure the price is affordable, or you really need that sale, so you want it to be affordable. But I think the number one thing that helps people to build successful businesses is a solid financial foundation. And that comes from having your bookkeeping up to date, reviewing your profit and loss statement with your bookkeeper each month, understanding your cash flow, because that's one of the things we see all the time when people get that in order. The first thing they say is, oh my gosh, I am undercharging, or I cannot afford to even offer this service anymore because I can't charge what it would be worth.
Yeah.
So when you really understand your financials, you have that CFO hat on, it makes pricing your offers a lot easier.
Yeah. Well, because it's back to just the way that we think, right? I mean, you look at this hourly rate and you're thinking, okay, well, in my job, I was making, X amount of dollars per hour. So, you feel like if you're charging double or triple that you're ripping somebody off. But the thing is that there's a lot of things in your business. I remember talking about this. You start your own business because, oh, I'm really good at this thing, so I'm going to start charging for that. And then you realize that you spend like what, 20% of your time doing that thing, and there's like all this other stuff you have to do to run your business. That has to get charged out too, right? So you have to
Absolutely.
work that in to the whole puzzle. And how do you do that, right?
Yeah, I think the main thing, again, it's going to go back to understanding your financials. And if you started a business and you didn't necessarily have a ton of accounting classes,
Mm,
or you're a very creative person and you feel like, math isn't your thing,
yeah.
understand that. And I do get this because, I've had so many people tell me that their CPA talked down to them, or every
Yeah.
time it's a question, they were made to feel stupid, or, they hired a bookkeeper, but they couldn't afford it any longer. So because there's just there's a lot of shame and guilt around money and a lot of stress around money. But that's the number one thing I think you have to master and realize you don't have to do it alone. Like I said, there are people out there, crazy people out there that love bookkeeping. Like that's their jam, that's their superpower. So learning to lean into people who have skills that you don't always have, because someone can help you really understand your numbers, and that person can really help you make good decisions. So whether, again, it's around pricing or looking at some of the things that you're doing, does it make more sense to outsource this so that I can work with more clients? It's all a numbers game, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's sales or pricing. But again, for a lot of people, there can be shame, guilt, stress around money. And I think that's the biggest challenge. I don't think it's always, I think some of it's more on a subconscious level.
Yep.
And yet you do forget all the things that you have to do to keep the business running, not just getting paid for the hours that you're actually working, and which is
Yeah.
a different.
Well, I mean, on that note, I mean, it's just a sort of an observation that I've noticed is that the accounting, the money, the numbers, even the tech support, all those things are very left brain, and they're very like non-emotional. And the people that tend, I mean, you see the movies, right? The tech guy, he tends to be a total jerk, like talking down to you about, oh, it's just so stupid. And based on what you t said earlier, I mean, to them, it's easy. So they can't understand how you can't understand. It's just numbers, right? That kind of thing. And so they tend to talk down to you. Like, I mean, a bad teacher in school can really affect how you think about a topic. And like you said, I do think that that's true, that a lot of the reason why we don't like math or we don't like numbers is because of the arrogant person that taught it to us in the first place and made us feel stupid for not understanding it immediately, right?
Well, and when I look at it, it all goes back to math. So let's say in the example of the bookkeepers, our bookkeeping virtual assistants are $9 an hour. They work directly with the client. You have to ask yourself, if you've got this pile of receipts and you've got all of this stuff that needs to be done, and you're not really sure where your money is going, and you're not
Mm,
really sure how you should price your services, then that's eating away at your confidence. It's
yeah.
causing you a lot of stress and anxiety. And as an entrepreneur, you need to be confident, not arrogant, but confident. But if you aren't doing things in your business that you know you should be doing, it erodes your confidence. So being able to have someone do that for you, at a very affordable rate. So my question is, if you paid someone $6 an hour or $9 an hour to do something else for you, could you free up time and go make more money? And
Yeah.
that's the power of outsourcing that people don't see. You're spending money at a very, very cost-effective rate to be able to go and bill your hourly rate, working with more clients or improving things in your business that can make you more money in the long term, whether it's rolling out a new product or service. So that's also something that I think the people who need the help the most, they overlook that because maybe they think they can't afford it.
Yeah.
Or they feel like they're not, because I don't know how to do my own bookkeeping or whatever it is we're talking about. They feel like they can't outsource it.
Yeah.
And so that's a challenge. But your time is your most valuable asset. Is an entrepreneur, your time. You can make more money. You could lose it all today and make more tomorrow, right? But if you don't value your time and find one, systems and processes to get the support you deserve in your business by hiring people to do the things you don't like to do or that you just run out of time to do, then you're trapping you've created your own glass ceiling. You know, in corporate, it's like they hit the glass ceiling. A lot of entrepreneurs, they build their own glass ceiling.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I think another block too, because I think that there is I can't afford it. I can't afford to outsource. But also there's probably a lot of even embarrassment of like letting somebody see how bad you are with money type thing, right? And you might be like, okay, well, how do I trust this person to come into my business for $9 an hour, like you say, and they're gonna magically do all this stuff that I can't figure out myself? Like I think there might be this like little circular pattern going on. Like, how do you get somebody to let you in, right, to that area?
Right, right. So, yeah. So, Tim, what we've done is we're not an outsourcing agency. So, we provide a program. So, I'm not trying to sell you guys, but I'm telling you how this
Right.
works.
Yeah.
Because exactly what you said. So people come into our program. We teach them about the different types of bookkeeping software. We teach them cultural differences, what it's like to manage someone and lead tasks for someone overseas. We talk to them about security, all the things that they want to know, write-offs. So many small businesses are leaving money on the table because they don't know all the things that they can write off. So we go through this in a very easy, digestible way. And then when the client is ready, they pick their software, they fill out a form, and then we pair them with a bookkeeper that we've
Oh,
already reviewed and vetted. And they've gone through our success training portal. So they're awesome. We pair them, and now that bookkeeper works directly for that client. And that client pays that bookkeeper directly because we really want to empower people to start to build their team. And in most cases, most smaller businesses don't usually have more than 3 to 5 hours of bookkeeping a
yeah.
month.
Yeah.
Once they're caught up, we've had a lot of clients that have been behind 2 or 3 years in bookkeeping. And we say we're a no judgment zone, right? So that bookkeeper doesn't care if they're going back and cleaning up 2 years of bookkeeping for you or they're starting fresh today. They have zero emotion to it. They're just going to get in there and do their job, and they're going to do it well so that you don't have to stress over it.
Well,
So yeah, that can be a challenge, is figuring out how to hire the right person, which is why we do the things the way we do them. But again, when it comes to outsourcing, it's even hiring someone locally, I think can be challenging, right? Because
yeah.
again, it's the same thing. And there's lots of awesome, wonderful local bookkeepers. But again, that we have had a couple of people that have said, it is less embarrassing to be working with someone halfway around the world than maybe working with someone that you might see out networking. I get that too.
Okay. Yeah, that does make sense. Yeah, if you see them around, or if you end up finding out that they're friends with your friends, right?
Right.
You're like,
Exactly.
oh, this is
Yeah.
awkward. Yeah.
So I think outsourcing took away a little bit of that, which was awesome. But it's so funny to see people once they really, have their monthly meeting with their bookkeeping VA and they see that they can ask questions and they're not made to feel stupid. It might take them 6 months before they fully understand their profit and loss statement, but that's okay. In 6 months, they know something that they didn't know now, and they've got a whole new skill set. They've got a whole new vocabulary when it comes to talking to their CPA. So yeah, it's just empowering people to understand that there are lots of different ways to do things, but outsourcing is one of the things that there's multiple ways you could hire yourself. You could go through an outsourcing agency. You could work with someone like us, but there are lots of tools and people available to help you.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about the tools then. So, what tools or, instruments do you use in your business to get success?
Yeah, so we're huge fans of GoHighLevel. I don't know if you're familiar with
Yep.
GHL.
Mhm.
So we started using that years ago, and it was a funny story because Jeannie and I kept looking at it. It looked too good to be true because we were spending so much money and we had all these other softwares that didn't talk to each other. And we actually ended up getting on a call with Sean, one of the owners, and we actually talked to him about the software. And then we ended up meeting with him again because we wanted to know, like, what's your intention? What's your intention with our daughter? What's your intention with the software? Do you plan on building it and then just selling it to HubSpot or somebody that's going to, just squash it? And we really believed that he was committed to keeping the software. So we moved everything over. This was back before it was easy to do. So it took us like 6 months to move all of our funnels and all the things. But once we got up and running on that, we fell in love with it. So that is one of our primary tools. We actually went on to white label a version of HighLevel, and we also have software virtual assistants, because I feel like a tool for people is like the foundation of how you grow your business. So definitely having a great CRM, having structure to help you manage your time is really important, and being able to manage connecting with your prospects and your clients is very important. The other thing we use Trello a lot. We have a large team, so we lean into Trello for managing tasks. We believe you lead people, you manage tasks. And so that's where project management software, Trello is free to use. If you haven't used it, there's lots of great videos on YouTube to watch, but it's a great tool to help you manage projects. Mm-hmm. One of the ways that Jeannie and I use it as a partnership is we have like a 2026, and we have Q1, January, February, March, we have Q2. So we have it lined out, because as business owners, we can get really excited about something. We kind of have shiny object syndrome.
Yeah.
So if something, an opportunity or something comes along the way and we're like, oh my gosh, this could be so cool to do, we create a card on our board, and then we look at our calendar and we think, well, where will we actually be able to do it? We can't do it in March because this is already booked. Let's put it in the Q2 column. And then when we have our Q2 meeting, we'll review all the things that are there and decide what we want to take action on next. And sometimes by the time we get to it, it doesn't seem as exciting as it did in the moment. So sometimes those things fall away. And that's the other thing is, again, managing time and energy is really important. And by not always jumping on opportunities, like really thinking them through and making sure you're planning your marketing, you're planning things out so that you're not, again, chasing every shiny object out there, is going to help you be more successful. So Trello, we love. We use Zoom a lot, obviously, podcasting, meeting with our team. Zoom's definitely one of the tools we use. AI is amazing. We started using AI back when Jasper came out, which was a few years before chat kind of hit the market. So having something to help you write, having something to help you, create documents and things like that is fantastic. Just remember, it's not always accurate. So you need to check behind it. Yeah. And really, as a business owner, everything you put out represents you. So you want to make sure that you're not putting out what they refer to as AI slop. And there's some good rules around that. So just making sure that you're using AI responsibly and what you're putting out there truly represents who you are as a business owner. I would say those are the primary right now.
Nice. I want to zero in on something you just said, because it has not come up on this podcast in like 400 episodes. And it was about how when you come up with an idea, you just create a card for it and look at it later. That is brilliant, because the shiny object syndrome is a big thing for all of us. I've been in, I come up with this idea and I end up like working on it for like hours. And then the next day I'm like, that's not even a good idea. Like what's up with that? It's almost like you finish it. And what a great idea to just write it down, because you don't want to lose it, because it could be a good idea. But
Really?
but it's like the next day, if it's still a good idea, or the next quarter, whatever it happens to be, that's the right time, because it's like it stands the test of time, right? But
Yes.
that's brilliant, really, to just write it down right away so you don't forget it, but put it over there so that if it's still a good idea at that point, because that's the thing, you've got to be intention about your day. Like if you've planned to work on these 5 things today and then you drop them because this shiny idea came into play, well, now you're not doing the things that you thought was important when you were thinking about it, right?
Absolutely. The other thing you can do is, we don't really, I say, work on Fridays. As a general rule, we don't take meetings on Fridays, which means we have the opportunity to get shit done. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
To catch up for everything we're behind on.
Yeah.
But that is the time when Jeannie and I will talk out ideas that we've had, and we'll make notes in those cards. So putting as much information in the card as possible is important. So for example, I was talking about creating a quiz for a lead magnet. And the timing's not right, but I did end up getting some information from it last Friday, because that's my time to kind of go down a rabbit hole if I want to, a couple hours on Friday. And so I went down the rabbit hole, pulled a bunch of information, and then I just put it all in the card. So when we come back to it, in Q2, and we decide if it makes sense to create a quiz funnel, all of my notes and my thoughts are there. So then we have the opportunity to review what we talked about and then have a conversation around it and to develop it into something that might actually be really amazing or viable. So that's how we process that.
Nice. Yeah. And I mean, you mentioned AI. I mean, it comes up on almost every podcast now. But I use AI a lot for that as well, because I mean, you can talk out these ideas. I know that it's always more effective to talk it out with somebody, right? I mean, you sit in your own head, but but talking it out with an AI is fantastic, because you get to work through some of those things, and then it can actually summarize everything and help you put it into the card so that you can revisit it later. Do you use it for that too, or?
We do. Yeah. So yeah, actually asking it different questions and fleshing out how it would work. And, just remember, especially chat like wants to tell you what you want to know.
Yes,
So
it wants to tell you what you want to hear.
with everything you say, if you tell it not to.
Yeah.
So we use Claude, we use probably 4 or 5 different AI tools, and I flip around between them. I might take everything chat gave me and put it in Claude and said, what's wrong with this? Pick holes.
It's a good idea.
Yeah. So I'm pitting them against each other, and we joke because Jeannie says please and thank you to her AI. I'm like, you didn't do that right. That's not what I wanted. Get it right. And so we joke that, when AI comes to take over the world, she's being nice to them, so it'll be nice to her. I'm like, oh no, I'm letting them know we're gonna have a fight. If they come to take over, we're having a fight.
Yeah. Wow.
But yeah, you can use different AI tools to cross-reference what other AI tools have done. So
Yeah. But to me, that's encouraging that it makes all those mistakes, because people are like all scared that it's going to take over everything, and I just don't think it's going to. It's just, I'm a programmer, so I see it as code, and code is not a person. So it's very good with the left brain stuff, but the right brain stuff, I think it's always going to need us for that, right?
yes, absolutely.
Yeah. But the funny thing about it is that the left brain stuff is the stuff that's super time consuming and monotonous. It's the stuff that most of us don't want to do anyway. So
Right.
why not use a tool to help us with that portion of things, so that we can spend more time in a right brain doing the creative things that actually do light us up, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, AI it's getting there. I mean, it's changing so rapidly.
Mhm.
But for example, like I said, I place bookkeepers for CPA firms and bookkeeping companies. And a couple of the bookkeeping companies have been taking on different AI tools that
Yeah.
is supposed to do some of the work for them, but they're like, it's not there yet. You have to go through and really sign off on what it's done. So by the time
Yeah.
you review it, you almost could have done it. And so a couple of them have said, we're just going to table it for another year till they get it right, and just, use our VAs to do that. Another thing that people ask is, do I feel like AI will replace virtual assistants? And I don't think so, because I feel like AI is a tool that can assist the virtual assistants in their job. Our VAs are trained to use different AI tools, and
Yeah.
we give them support on learning about AI. So I don't really think people are going to be completely replaced, but it is going to take, like you said, a lot of the monotonous things away, which is going to allow us to ask our team, hey, that used to take you 10 hours. Now with AI, it takes you 2. What do you want to do with those other 8 hours? Like, is there a project that you see that we could work on? Or, Jeannie and I might decide this is the next project, so this is what we want you to do for this. So
Yeah.
I think it's a great tool, but it is a tool.
Yeah, you and I agree on that. I said the same thing. I don't think it's going to replace hardly anything. It's just going to make the people that we're hiring more effective, because I do see it as a hammer. And I mean, if I'm hiring somebody, I need to hire somebody to use the hammer, right? And
Exactly.
unless I'm using the hammer, and then I'm my own virtual assistant, which I'm not. I don't want to be my own virtual assistant. I want somebody else to handle that portion. So give them the hammer. They can do it. I'll hire them to do it. Now, will that make me pay a lot less, or have a much more effective VA? Probably. I think it's actually going to like really dial that up. I mean, hey, a virtual assistant now might only be able to handle 1 or 2 or 3 clients or whatever it is, but man, give that a few years and they will be able to actually up-level their own business to be able to handle so much more because they're an expert in that area and they know how to use the tool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. To me, what's the most exciting about AI, I think, is the way I see the future is I think that it's going to make everybody significantly more productive. And to me, that means more small businesses. That means more people work from home and doing these things, right? And being able to compete with large businesses. So I think it's exciting. But I mean, hey,
Yeah.
I'm an optimist.
Yeah, it's funny too, because in my whole life, I've never thought, oh, I'd love to be 20 again until it came out. And I thought, oh my gosh, I would love to be 20 again because I want to see where this is going to go over the next 80 years, right? So, but like someone said, 20 years is going to happen in like 2 years based on AI because things are getting compressed. But yeah, we do have to figure out how to set aside time to learn AI. And like you said, not let it derail the day of the tasks that you need to get done.
Yeah. And I've gotten into pretty big arguments with AI too. So
Yes,
don't
me
let
too.
it ruin your day. Like
No.
it's not a person, it doesn't get it. So you can yell at it all you want and it just doesn't get it, right?
Right, exactly.
So let's move into your solo. Tell me what's exciting in your business right now.
Oh my gosh. So in the past, all of the virtual assistants we have offered have really revolved around marketing.
Mm,
So because Jean owned an agency, so we offer virtual assistants for clients who want to start a video podcast, or virtual assistants for people who want to get booked on podcast. Or like I said, we offer software virtual assistants for building funnels and websites and things like that. So everything we have done has really been geared around marketing. In 2025, our bookkeeper retired and
mm.
she sold her business. And because I've already been hiring bookkeepers, for other companies, Jeannie and I decided to outsource it. And we knew we'd save money. We saved about $3,600 a year. But what happened was it changed the relationship because, again, business to business is one thing, but having a virtual assistant who's on your team that you're paying hourly. And again, even though our bookkeeper works like 4 hours a month for us, she's still on our team. It changed some things because at our second meeting, one of the things she asked us was, you have a lot of different revenue streams. Would you like me to separate those? And we're like, yeah, that's a great idea. Our past bookkeeper never asked us, but we never asked her. It was something that we didn't even think about. But breaking down the income streams gave us a lot of information. It was interesting to see, one, we were bringing in more affiliate commission than we realized. It was interesting to see which offers had been more profitable. It was interesting to see where we needed to raise some prices. So that was really powerful. And somehow we started talking about that. And then someone said, are you going to offer bookkeeping virtual assistants? And we kind of said we weren't going to roll out anything else new until 2026, but we did roll it out in 2025. So yeah, we had a big enough demand for it. So we ended up creating, it's called Love Your Profit. And it's a program that helps our clients get their finances in order with a bookkeeper, affordable bookkeeping virtual assistant. And my heart was singing because, again, my background's mortgage. And so I'm back in the numbers. So that was really exciting for me. Mm-hmm. And at the end of 2025, I just said to Jeannie, as a business coach over, the past couple of decades, one of the things I've realized is that business owners that have their finances in order are always the ones that are more successful. And the people who, a lot of people will take manifesting classes, like money manifesting classes, but that's not going to work if you're afraid of your money and you're sticking your head in the sand and your bookkeeping's not done, right?
Yep.
And so we were like, okay, well, this is people who I really want to help, the people who have a lot of guilt, a lot of shame around money. I want to really empower them to build a successful financial foundation. So our mission for 2026 is to help 1,000 business owners to get their finances in order and pair them with fabulous bookkeeping virtual assistants. And it was a big goal. So I said, I'm a little bit scared to put it out there because I have no idea how we're going to make this happen. But we've had an opportunity, 2 different creators that have fairly large audiences have invited us to come into their marketplaces or to speak with their people. So it's starting to fall in place. Here we are. We're recording this on the 3rd of March. So we're not on track to hit that 1,000 right now. I'll be honest. And that's the other thing, being honest, right? So you can have a big goal and, well, I need to sell this many a month in order to work. We're behind on that right now, but we've been really doing the foundational work to build relationships of people who also have our ideal client and who believe and know that if they change that one thing in their business, It'll boost their confidence. It'll change their pricing. It'll help them become successful. So that's what I'm most excited about.
Oh, that's awesome. So I'm wondering if someone is running a business, what would they be looking at? What would be happening in their lives right now where they actually need to be hiring you? How would?
Sure. Yeah. So I still offer one-on-one coaching. It's really funny. I hadn't taken on new clients in a while because I have clients I've had for over a decade, but I recently have started taking on some new one-on-one clients, which has been fun. So if you're just feeling overwhelmed or you don't have a strategy, that's something we do in one-on-one coaching. If you really want to start a podcast, or if you know guesting on podcasts would be a great marketing strategy, that's something else we can help you with. So we just want to help people. So we don't offer virtual assistants for everything. And the reason why we don't do that is because we have very detailed SOPs. So we interview and vet all of the virtual assistants. So for example, Tim, if you said, well, I need someone to produce my podcast, we interview them, we vet them, they go through a paid internship with us. They work with you 2 weeks with our hiring manager and training manager, because we want to make sure the client understands all of the structure and the SOPs that we provide, so that everything gets done week after week consistently. So we have really dialed in processes, and that's why our clients have such great success. We have clients going on 6 years with the same VA. So that's our goal.
Which of course is good advice for anybody. Niche in, figure out exactly what you do so you're an expert in that area, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's hard because sometimes people are like, oh, well, I want a VA to do this. And it's like, well, I can give you some outsourcing companies that I think have good reputations, but we can't be all things to all people. And that's the other thing I would say. If you've started a business, it's really easy to say yes to projects or clients that are not ideal. It's going to eat away at your soul. It almost always ends up costing you money. So figure out who your ideal client is and how you can serve them to the best of your ability. And that sometimes means saying no.
Yeah. Is that something that you also help a client with? It's to figure that out?
To figure out, sorry,
who their ideal client is?
Yes. And one-on-one coaching, we can definitely go through all of that. Okay. We have a process for that. So yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. So how do we find out more?
So you can go to sixfigurebusinesscoaching.com, sixfigurebusinesscoaching.com. If you really want to get your finances in order, we host a masterclass twice a month, and you can sign up for that at lessmathmoremoney.com, lessmathmoremoney.com.
Awesome. Awesome. Hey, I think everybody's going to like that. Except for me, I like math, but whatever. I still like money too.
You're kind of like creative with the math brain. The music and the coding kind of in some ways go hand in hand, I think.
There's a lot of math in music. Yes. So you'll find a lot of crossovers between musicians and mathematicians for sure.
Absolutely.
Hey, speaking of musicians, so tell me, who is your favorite rock star?
Oh my gosh. I always loved Tom Petty back in the day. I aged myself. I love the Grateful Dead.
Oh.
Yeah. So probably more older rock, I guess, 80s and 90s stuff.
Nice. Did you see them live at all?
Yes. I saw the Dead and Tom Petty live. Yes. Several times. The Eagles.
Wow.
Yeah.
The Eagles too. Yeah. Oh, so good. Right on. Yeah, I love all that music too. Tom Petty is one of my favorites as well. And the Grateful Dead, I didn't listen to a whole bunch of them. But I did go see Fish, which is a similar type band.
Yeah.
Fish too. Yeah. Those are experiences.
Absolutely. And then Fleetwood Mac. I love Fleetwood Mac too.
Awesome. You love classic rock then?
I do. Classic rock kind of girl.
Is that the kind of stuff you sing in the shower?
Oh, I don't sing in the shower. I get downloads. I'm in the shower, and all of a sudden, an idea comes for a client or an idea for a blog post. So,
awesome.
Shower time is usually my. I think it's when I'm relaxed, and all of a sudden, like good ideas come into play. So that's my idea space.
Is the car your idea space too?
In some cases, but a lot of times now I spend so much time either working, meaning on calls with people, or dictating. Like, so when I get back, I can just copy and paste it into a chat and figure out what I need to do with whatever I dictated. So not as much. Plus I work from home, so I'm not usually out driving a lot. It's not like I have to commute to and from work. So I would definitely say the shower. I live in Florida, so the beach. We go to the beach a lot. So those are my favorite places. Water.
I live in Canada. Oh, you know what? The one thing about living in Canada is that you really appreciate the summer.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have a lot of Canadian clients, and you know, where you live is so beautiful. Like I always see pictures of our,
It is.
with our clients up there, and you're surrounded by water. It's just frozen most of the time,
Yeah.
but it is beautiful. You guys have such gorgeous and different types of landscapes.
Yeah. Yeah. I used to do a lot of traveling down to the States and to Florida. And I just thought it was always funny that we would go down there and there'd be a group of us and everybody who lives there would be in the air conditioning and we're outside. Like,
Yeah,
what are you
yeah,
guys doing in air conditioning?
right. Or the winter. So we've had a really cold winter. I had frost on my windshield one day, but yeah, if we go to the beach, the last time I went to the beach, my girlfriend wore jeans and a long sleeve shirt. And so, of
Mm,
course, we're kind of bundled up. And obviously, the crazy Canadians are swimming. So,
yep. That is awesome. Thank you
yeah,
so much, Kristen, for rocking out with me today. This has been a lot of
thank
fun.
you. Yeah, it's been awesome. I really appreciate the conversation.
Great. And to the listeners, make sure you go to workathomerockstar.com for more information, and we'll see you next time on the Work at Home Rockstar podcast.